music cue. Live breaking news from your favorite host with the most, Liam of the Wake Movement on Wake TV. Not to be confused with our affiliate Woke TV. Woke TV is the left, and Wake TV is not the right. We're cutting through the middle, exposing the Hegelian dialect that they have us in, the duopoly, if you will, your alternative news source. Well, why? Cutting through the middle. My fine fellow friends, we're going to look to Jimmy Dore, a leftist, if you will, and see what he has to say on his show. And we're also going to look to just what is being said by the mainstream news outlets. And we'll also just do a Twitter stroll and see what's going on. And it is good that we are here. It is good and it is pleasant. I haven't been on here for a little bit. If you are here, I invite you to engage in the live comments, or if you watch post live, I too invite you to comment, and we will do our best to comment back. I urge you to like, subscribe, and share, and let us wake up this world together. I'm currently working on a fiction piece. I didn't plan on talking about it. I didn't. Please use a keyframe frequency or 4 seconds of less. I hate that. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But that won't keep us from moving on. That's just going to throw more fuel to the fire. I invite you to follow me, Liam T. Jarrett, at the Aquarian TV, for my fire ass tweets. And even on Facebook. All places from which I have been totally shadow banned to just crap. But that's just how we roll. We're going to keep on rolling. Okay, so first, let us go to what are they saying? The Guardian. We'll make this a little bit bigger for you. Tucker Carlson's vulgar language in texts contributed to his firing, describes a network executive, the Wall Street Journal reported. Would you believe that the Wall Street Journal is, in fact, owned by Rupert Murdoch and his family, his grandson? The same Rupert Murdoch who owns Fox News and is perhaps right behind Sherry Redstone, the biggest one single person in charge of our media. And then Nick Saban on the left. And we'll see that they all have something in common. The owner of Wall Street Journal and Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, is Wall Street Journal, when I think of it in my head, I'm like, my leftist parents get that. And they think that's like a beacon of leftist truth as opposed to Fox News. The same dude owns them both. Amongst much other, like the Sun News, and it goes back to his father, and it goes back to one of the leading founders of propaganda. They're actually Irish people. My own kin came up with this wild way of they tried to make news back in like late 1800s, early 1900s, less of a bourgeoisie type thing, and brought it to the lower classes by making it extravagant and dramatic and dumbing it down. And that same person responsible for that was responsible for enemy propaganda, was the name of his position in the English military. And Australia is just a colony of England, pretty much, which is why Rupert Murdoch, his father, wasn't educated in Australia. He was educated in a Cambridge-like English college. This isn't it's very important to realize who owns these things, which is ultimately who made the call to get Tucker Carlson's fired. It's not because they got sued for a big amount. They lost that much money in one day with the loss of stockholders. And they knew that would happen. So we know this isn't about the money, which is surprising to some and rare even, because usually you just follow the money. In this case, it's more about the money in some sense. Or it's more money involved. And we'll get to that. So The Guardian says that they found some texts that people accuse Tucker of using the C word and being misogynistic towards other employees. Host called senior colleague a C word. That is so lame. They couldn't come up with anything better than that. In a text message obtained by lawyers synonymous with liars as part of a Dominion lawsuit. So the people trying to accuse him came up with that anyway. In a case settled last week for $787.5 million, which is shit. Rupert Murdoch and his conglomerate have probably $787 billion. Maybe just $78 billion in the bank. But a lot more of that is its value. So it's not the money. And people would come around to realize that. So now they have to come up with more reasons why this happened. Oh, because he said the C word. That's about to dominate air. And that's staffers sat around joking about which female politicians they would rather sleep with. Grossberg alleges. Grossberg. That's the funniest last name. Abby Grossberg, a former senior booking producer, a nobody who's not even there anymore, so it's probably just sour. And Miss Grossberg claims there was a sexist and hostile working environment on his show. Welcome to the fucking world. And there's a sexist and hostile, it's a hostile environment into which we're born She also claims she was encouraged to lie when Dominion's lawyers presented her with a message in which Carlson called Powell the C word and a quote, bitch. Grossberg told lawyers it did not make her feel uncomfortable, and she did not know how she would react. Look, okay, our theguardian.com. This is totally makes no sense. Grossberg, or am I just stupid? That could always be the truth. Grossberg told lawyers it did not make her feel uncomfortable. You mean comfortable? Did no one proofread this crap and garbage? That's how much they care about their audience. They don't. They're not here as servants to the public. 70% or more of funds that go to Fox News and CNN are by the pharmaceutical industry, which is synonymous with the military industrial complex. Thanks to the introduction of biological chemical warfare. There we have the marriage of science and the military together on front stage as if they weren't in cahoots from the word go. Grossberg told lawyers it did not make her feel uncomfortable. Okay, good. That would be good if Grossberg actually wasn't such as Grossberg. Grossberg. Let's just get through that. Grossberg told lawyers it did not make her feel uncomfortable, and she did not know how she would react. If that type of language is used by Carlson and those around him. In reality, she said in a court filing, she knew Carlson was capable of using that language. Anybody is capable of using any language. Oh my gosh. How do we get through the day when they put this out? The Guardian, a seemingly reputable media source. Oh Lord, have mercy. She knew Carlson was capable of using such language. Approached by Daily Mail reporters on Tuesday, the 53-year-old said retirement is going great so far and added, I haven't eaten dinner with my wife on a weeknight in 7 years. Damn. He's worked pretty hard. What we saw him go through was a red pilling a little bit. He started off as a CIA talking mouthpiece, pushing the war narrative for wherever it happened to be. At that time, Iraq, and he since came out against it. Who nobody else in today's mainstream media has, unless depends what setting they're in. Oof, oof, breathe, breathe, Lily. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor. Regarding vulgar language, that's the reason they're coming up with. Okay, so let's just all agree how absolutely ridiculous that is. Now, let's see what else they are pushing down our throats. CNN. Fox News's sudden firing of Tucker Carlson may have come down to one simple calculation. Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit. Don't you worry, cutie heads. Who wrote this? What do we have to find out so long? Yeah. So, who wrote this? Oliver Darcy. Oh, this guy's a real treat. Well, first of all, when it comes to a piece, it's obviously opinionated, but in CNN business, when even in the headline it says, it uses such word as may have, they're already telling you that they're just coming up with total BS. That is the question I have been asked, and I expect to continue to be asked more than any other after the seismic news that Fox News had fired its highest rated host, Tucker Carlson. Notice how nobody gives a crap about the firing of Don Lyman? That would just be embarrassing. That was like their number one / number two. Their Las Cuomo was with their other number ones, but CNN is just even worse than Fox. Can you even imagine? But answering it is anything but easy. All right, so now he just pulls us into pill pull. Well, he's gonna Abby. Or we go back to perhaps it was Abby Grossberg because his profanity. Oh my God! Look at this. I knew it was gonna come. Oh, yeah, and we'll get to this later when we go through tweets. We will get through this. Don't you worry. Perhaps it was related to ex-producer. No, she was not an ex-producer, is what we just came up. The last one said that she was like a casting, some former, not a producer. Abby Grossberg's lawsuit against an ex, which alleged, yeah, Abby Grossberg is the type to come up with a lawsuit for. It was a hostile environment. That's what work is. Work sucks. Which alleged rampant sexism. I mean, saying that sexism could be defined in many numerous ways. And anti-Semitic behavior. Uh-oh, that's the third rail. What is any evidence that she has of him saying anything sexism, or maybe using the C word, or anti-Semitic behavior behind the scenes? Or perhaps, here we go, just conjuring up stuff. Or perhaps, who gives a or perhaps, oh, hold on a second. So the Dominion thing, we know that's just B-says. Disparaging his colleagues, including Fox brass. Oh, was he saying stuff about Rupert Murdoch behind the scenes? And Lachlan, his son? Well, they want to send a message about who's ultimately in command. Australian billionaire, zillionaire, and his son of the royal family of media from Australia via England, via Northern Ireland. I bet you they're not from Southern Ireland or totally failed. Could it be that the Murdochs wanted to send a message about who is ultimately in command at the company after having been embarrassed for months with the public airing of Fox's dirty laundry, i.e., that they are no different than CNN by who they are controlled by, paid by. It's possible it was all who. We don't care about your possibilities, Oliver Darcy. God, I just despising this guy. Let's see about Oliver Darcy. Wikipedia, please. Even though it sucks, but lazy. We don't even have it. We don't have anything about this shill. He's done nothing. He was in the Leadership Institute, already suspicious. Personal life, we know absolutely nothing except that he currently resides in New York City. Could be a total foreign agent and a spy, other than just a speculative quasi-journalist. And can you really trust a face with two eyes going in totally different directions? And God didn't even give him good eyesight, so he had to go get glasses. No, I'm joking. I don't know, he looks pretty, somebody American who's definitely been here for a while. That's not fair. I'm sorry. We're a nation of immigrants. Okay, so Oliver Darcy telling us nothing. So no one knows anything. Just a bunch of speculation. But let's check in on my comments. Nobody has commented nothing. One viewer, though. It's enough to keep us going. Hope it works. Is this working? Can anybody hear me? I'm sorry, 0 concurrent viewers. Oh, brother. It's not about the likes, Liam. Okay, so now I would like to go into...
Meantime, have the best weekend with the ones that you love, and we'll see you then.
Whoa.
Now get your pizzas and get out.
Now, can I just jump in and say that I challenge the veracity of that claim by the LA Times, or what Rupert Murdoch says, that the real reason why they're firing him is because of his January 6th coverage. That's not why. They're firing him for several reasons. The biggest one was that he finally brought on RFK Jr. and they told the truth about Big Pharma. Big Pharma funds news.
I'm not an RFK fanboy, but if he's gonna try to look into if he's gonna bring up who killed his father and try to research into that, get behind that, and expose those people, we could be onto something. And let's continue. I hope the audio is all right.
To 70%, and so I'm guessing that was the last straw. I also know that there is a split inside the Murdoch family, and Rupert Murdoch has been wanting to get rid of Tucker for a while, and so I guess there was just enough things, and I think that the 70% advertisers coming down on them, Big Pharma, I think that was all it took. What do you think, Aaron?
Well, Jimmy, here's that clip you're talking about. Here's Lee Fong reporting it. Tucker Carlson last week ripped Big Pharma spending hundreds of millions of dollars on TV ads and news outlets, routinely parroting drug industry talking points. Is there a single example of a CNN, MSNBC, or other Fox News host ever discussing TV advertising corruption?
No.
And here's what Tucker said.
And try this at home. Ask yourself, is any news organization you know of so corrupt that it's willing to hurt you on behalf of its biggest advertisers?
Wow.
Anyone who do that is obviously Pablo Escobar level corrupt and should not be trusted. What would that look like? That level of corruption. Well, imagine that the Trump administration had made it mandatory for American citizens to buy MyPillow. That's one of Fox News' biggest advertisers. Imagine the administration declared that if you didn't rush out and buy at least one MyPillow and then at least another booster pillow, you would not be.
Okay. Tucker Carlson recently coming out speaking on Big Farm and their being the number one financiers behind these news mainstream media corporations. We'll skip forward a little bit.
In corporate news is because they took away all his advertisers, and so now he's free to say that kind of stuff. But apparently he wasn't.
See, I mean, it's easy to sing his praises now, but it took him a while to do so. When they were his number one sponsors, he wasn't coming out and singing. He is human. Look, he went to go get a job with the He went to go get a job with the CIA. Him and the Silver Fox from CNN.
Because the hammer came down.
Who is from the Vanderbilt family. I always forget his name. Anderson Cooper also went to the CIA to get jobs. Both were not given the jobs and turned away and went into big media jobs. Now, call me conspiratorial, but I just don't believe it. Yes, Anderson Cooper from the Vanderbilt family. The big freaking families. The Murdoch families. Tucker Carlson, no different from the Swanson families. Not to get into him wearing his red bracelet and what that possibly means, but let us further on in our unpacking.
From the top, and this was again. Let me throw it to you, Aaron. What do you think that this was?
Well, so we have the clip there. He's challenging Big Pharma, but also nobody on cable news was even close to him, even comparable in challenging the war state.
Right,
not even close.
Challenging the war state. So he started talking about questioning Big Pharma, and I saw today on Fox News that they were still trying to do a little bit of that. Whoever is on Fox News still and hasn't been like, I support Carson, is a chump, but I wouldn't expect anything different from any of these guys. Waters. Tucker Carlson was the best thing we had. And still, I'm sorry, I know lots of people idolize him, and similar to Trump or DeSanctimonious on the right, he has many flaws. From the Swanson family, which is the microwave dinners that a stray dog wouldn't even eat.
No one covered the issues that he did. And we'll get to that in our next segment. He also featured leftist voices like us.
That's right.
Which nobody.
Here are self-proclaimed leftists coming out in defense of Tucker Carlson, because he did do more than others, just still, in comparison, very little. He called out lots of stuff, but he didn't call out the most important stuff.
Nobody would bring on, and the reason why me, you, Glenn Greenwald go on Tucker Carlson, because MSNBC, CNN, ABC wouldn't bring people on who had an anti-war message or wanted to debunk Russiagate. Even Democracy Now! Stopped bringing people on to debunk Russiagate. Right? They stopped bringing on you. They stopped bringing on
Stephen F. Cohen, the late scholar who was one of their top guests. He was banned. He was also welcome on Tucker's show.
Glenn Greenwald was banned from
well, he's bringing on a Cohen to his show, so he can't be that anti-Semitic. He brings these people on, leftists, on his show, when the left won't even bring these people on their show. Because he calls out the proxy war of America to Russia being fought in Ukraine, the world's most corrupt place, and we just send them billions of dollars while our own country is collapsing because of financial instability. Does it make sense to send one of the most corrupt countries with ties to Biden's and the corrupt Trump family? Look how much Kushner pulled out with this Saudi Arabian deal that he set up while his father-in-law was the president. It's on the both sides of this.
So yeah, Tucker Carlson. That this might blow a lot of shitlibs' minds, but Tucker Carlson doing way better journalism, especially the last couple years, than everybody else combined in cable news. They're all horrible. He would tell the truth about Julian Assange. He would tell the truth about Syria. He would tell the truth about Venezuela. He would tell the truth about.
Another thing, Trump people, Syria. Ivanka cried to her dad, told probably by, or encouraged by her husband, Jared, that Assad, Syria, is bombing their own people with gas bombs. And so what did Trump do? Went in and bombed it. Oh, what? Well, then let me go bomb them? Syria, too. I mean, and then it turns out there was no evidence to it. It was all false information given to us by who? Our greatest ally in the Middle East, Israel. Connect with Kushner, would you believe? Benjamin Netanyahu slept in Jared Kushner's bed when he was a child. I'm hoping that Kushner slept on the couch. Or maybe they were cuddling there together. Benji whispering little sweet fables in the ear of Jared as he fell asleep. Perhaps reminiscing about the Exodus and for him to never forget Amalek, who wouldn't give the Israelites passage through their town. All total fictional stuff that they got us all to buy into through Christianity and Islam.
Ukraine right now, and now he's telling the truth about vaccines and how Big Pharma corrupted everything around COVID.
Here's Max Blumenthal. Tucker Carlson, Fox's top-rated host and the most outspoken, influential critic of NATO's Ukraine proxy war on national TV, was fired.
Max Blumenthal. Somebody else from, I'm going to guess, the tribe. Blumenthal sounds, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Max Blumenthal is great. So he's having this person on. How is he anti-some Schmametic. Max Blumenthal. Oh, maybe he's not. Oh, look at his dad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. He's done great on Israel and Palestine. Feeling the hate. Some youths in Israel use racist rhetoric about Obama and Arabs, referring to Obama as a like a according to the Jerusalem Post. The video garnered massive exposure and caused a firestorm in the media and the world. It was removed for unspecific terms of use violation. The Huffington Post refused to publish it. He received death views. He describes himself as a non-Zionist liberal. You don't want to do that. So, yeah. He's from this background. Which I already knew. I just wanted to take you all there.
Just weeks after the 20th anniversary of MSNBC firing its top-rated host, Phil Donahue, for opposing the Iraq War. U.S. cable news is regime media.
I just want to point out that I tweeted out the same sentiment before.
The only other reporter was it Geraldo Rivera to come out, who I horrible as well, and I'm total propagandist, but who at least came out against a war in Iraq at the time, was fired because of it.
Proxy war on national TV was fired just weeks after the 20th anniversary of MSNBC firing its top-rated host, Phil Donahue, for opposing the Iraq War. U.S. cable news is...
Yeah. I meant Phil Donahue. What I don't know much about. A lot better than the former.
Regime media.
I just want to point out that I tweeted out the same sentiment before Max tweeted that out. So that was, if you go track.
I had that. Look at it right here.
There it is.
So now there are 0 people telling the truth about Ukraine or war in general on TV news. 0.
No, I also tweeted out the thing about Phil Donahue.
Okay.
So that was a big, nice pull for me. I bet you Max copied me.
Out to Phil Donahue, my guys.
I'm sure he did. Here's Glenn Greenwald. Tucker was the cable host who most, and I would say only, opposed the U.S. proxy war in Ukraine.
Only one. Who else?
No one else.
0. If there was another person, we would know.
Absolutely. Denounced the CIA, FBI, and Department of...
And you know what they call him? A Russian asset for denouncing this proxy war in Ukraine. And CNN, these pieces of crap, CNN posted an article today that I'm not going to take the time to go find because I'll wrap it up for you real quick. CNN posted an article saying that, or showing the reaction of Russian leaders, what they had to say about Tucker Carlson getting fired. We are so screwed. As if trying to say that the firing of Tucker Carlson is justified because the Russian leaders, whoever they, look as if they are as if that shows something. They had a comment on it. Oh man.
of Homeland Security for its systemic lies and corruption, devoted himself to a pardon for Julian Assange, and also covered the issue of Julian Assange when nobody else did.
That's right.
Objected to regime change efforts in Cuba, criticized Trump administration's militarism. And I pointed out he also accurately covered and challenged the dirty war on Syria, including, I would argue, one of the most censored stories in history. The OPCW's Duma cover-up scandal. Unlike everybody else on cable TV and almost all of leftist media. And for all my disagreement,
all of leftist media and of the right. Tucker Carlson 2024. I'm getting bumper stickers made. I'm getting t-shirts made, banners, flags. He might be the best hope we have, and he's not the best. But it's something. And right now, he's not beholden, unless they got some super blackmail on him, like Jeffrey Epstein type stuff. And who was behind Jeffrey Epstein? The language of this small new startup country called Sheikh Israel.
agreements with Tucker, immigration, China, domestic policy. It's just a fact on certain issues, really important issues, like Ukraine, neocon policy, the Syria dirty war, Julian Assange, censoring dissenting voices.
Neocon? Can we say neocon? Because when they say neocon, they conflate that with globalism and globalists or bankers, which is all thinly veiled anti-Shekel's AL. Shekel EL. Shekel is this fictional country I just made up in my head. It's Shekeliel. Thinly failed anti-Shekelialism.
Voices. He was more accurate and adversarial than anybody else on TV and even in most leftist media. It's sad, but it's true.
And again, it would blow most people's minds to know that. But he has more Democrats watching him in the demo than MSNBC.
Absolutely, yes.
And there can't be that many people hate watching. There can't be more Democrats hate watching Tucker than are love watching Rachel Maddow.
Yep.
So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whoa. Hold it right there. That sounds like anti-Shekelialism. Rachel Maddow. Wonder if she's related to Bernie Madoff. She has one older brother, David. Her paternal grandfather was from a family of from Russia. Maybe they're Russian agents. Rachel Ann Maddow. But no, the family's very, very Catholic. Yeah. I'm sure. Just like, just as Catholic as the Pope. Just as Catholic as the first Pope Peter. Or Shimon. Rebbe Shimon. Very Catholic was he.
Okay. And so that's why cable news, as Chomsky pointed out, the news business is about manufacturing consent. Well, Tucker stopped manufacturing consent on several fronts. He stopped manufacturing COVID consent, vaccine consent. He stopped manufacturing consent about the war, which is one of the biggest. So those are the two biggest things you can stop manufacturing consent about. And so he's not useful to the machine anymore. And that's why they took away all his advertising, but he was still useful to. And so now that's that. Go ahead. You want to say something, Kurt?
I just saw some clip of him. He must have just done this speech at like the Heritage Foundation defending the black socialists who got arrested.
Yes. I got that clip. We show that.
Oh, that's another thing too. Yeah, he's the only one. He blew the whistle on Russiagate, right?
Absolutely, he did. He called bullshit on Russiagate from the start and brought on leftists like us.
Yeah, he gave left a platform while even leftists didn't. The left media. Okay, I want to touch on that last part.
You show that, yeah.
Oh, that's another thing too. Yeah, he's the only one. He blew
the whistle on Russellgate. Blew the whistle on Russia Gate. My friends, remember when they were, and I'm not, to come into the defense of Trump, it always makes me twitch a little, but the whole Hunter Biden laptop thing and how the left spun it, and I hate that word, as Russia propaganda when it was nothing in the least, already setting up Russia as an enemy.
the whistle on Russiagate, right?
Absolutely, he did. He called bullshit on Russiagate from the start and brought on leftists like us who would challenge it when leftist outlets would freeze us out. But Wyatt Reed points this out, that even though advertisers boycotted Tucker Carlson, because he was the highest rated host, he was still incredibly valuable to the network. So Wyatt Reed says Fox lost more money by firing Tucker Carlson than it spent to settle the Dominion lawsuit. And already,
you think?
Shares of Fox Corp, the network's parent company, fell by 5% after the announcement of Tucker Carlson leaving, wiping $690 million from its market value. And even though the Dominion settlement was more, Fox will ultimately pay less because they can write off some of that.
They're going to get a tax cut break.
Exactly,
Is Fox going to replace him with Dylan Mulvaney?
So that's an example where the bottom line, it's not just about...
This is important right here, because this shows us that they'll try to put up that this voting thing was the reason behind it, and the lawsuit and the millions. Now listen to this.
The bottom line, insofar as Tucker's stance against militarism influenced his firing, which I think it did, then this companies are not just there for their profits, they're also there to enforce the state line. That speaks to what Max said about this being regime media, whether it's Fox News or MSNBC.
And journalists, as you've noticed with the Twitter files and other things, they're not there to tell you the truth about anything. Just like with COVID or the war or the Twitter files or censorship, that the journalists in America, 99.9.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jimmy. Jimmy Dore's great. I love him. These are comedians who are actually decent comedians. Not a comedian like the one from Sheckelstein. Sheckelstel. We're going to have to create a whole new vocabulary and lexicon just to get us out of this. But at least Jimmy Dore was a good comedian, unlike Zelensky.
As you've noticed with the Twitter files and other things, they're not there to tell you the truth about anything. Just like with COVID.
Like Zelensky was an actor who would read lines. Jimmy Dore is a comedian who comes up with his own material. An actor is different from a comedian. Oftentimes, a comedian will go into acting, blah, blah. I don't need to bring us down that.
Or the war or the Twitter files or censorship, that the journalists in America, 99.99% of them are there for narrative control, and they can't wait to do it. And so what another name for that is manufacturing consent. And so Tucker decided to stop manufacturing consent, and he wasn't doing the narrative control. In fact, they had to control his narrative. And so now you know where he is. But go ahead. You have more to show?
Well, there's a lot more. I mean, first of all, just to show, I mean, he's a weird dude. I mean, for example, his views on immigration I found to be pretty vile. So, for example, This is some of the stuff he said.
So now here's where
the left disagrees. This is their big disagreement with Tucker, is his stance on immigration. And now I will agree to disagree with Dore and this host right here on this, and I'll tell you why after I let it run.
can both wholeheartedly disagree with Tucker, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to stand with him to oppose nuclear war,
absolutely,
or censorship, or authoritarianism from vaccine passports. So here, let's watch. This is the part.
Well, this is an example of the kind of vile stuff he would say about immigrants.
Instead, our leaders demand that you shut up and accept this. We have a moral obligation to admit the world's poor, they tell us, even if it makes our own country poorer and dirtier and more divided. Immigration is a form of atonement. Previous leaders of our country committed sins. We must pay for those sins by welcoming an endless chain of migrant caravans. That's the argument they make. If it sounds like something that some dopey sociology professor at Long Beach State thought up half drunk in the 70s, you're right. That's pretty much exactly what it is.
Yes, that's the stuff where,
When was this?
That's a few years ago, but that's the kind of stuff
was this when there was the caravan that was coming up from somewhere? It was like a huge story for like a month. Do you remember talking about?
Yes, I do remember.
Maybe,
that. Yes, the caravan, they were all criminals. And
was it like the Mariel boat left again? Was that what it was like? Or no.
Well, the joke I used to do is there are 1,000 Hispanics. They're all criminals, and they're walking to America. And I'm like, what kind of a criminal walks across Mexico the long way and then steals a car? Right? Those are some pretty remedial criminals. I think we could.
That wasn't even funny. No, I'm sorry. Immigration. Now, most, if not all, Americans, if we didn't come here as immigrants, we came here as colonializers, who's to say what's better? We're fleeing starvation, persecution, maybe even political refuge in America. The immigrants coming in from South America don't participate in politics. What, they're fleeing the regime. Actually, the Mexican president there right now is pretty based. We help every other nation. We pour money into the Middle East. We don't send any money and help out Mexico, Chile, Guatemala, El Salvador, Argentina. Rather, we send in our own proxies there and do regime change, subterfuge with our CIA, FBI, who aren't supposed to work together, who do. Great big America isn't the great big good guy. Come and save us. Could that be true? I know. That was devastating when I found that out. Really? Now, we're not getting the best and the brightest of these countries coming in. I mean, look at the streets of London. You go to London thinking that you're going to get fish and chips served to you by a bloke at the local frickin' draft house. No, you won't get any of that. You will get the call to prayer in the middle of this. Now, I love the Islamic culture, and I'll say not the Islamic culture, but the Middle East, Persian culture, the Arabic culture, minus the Muslim. I love the Jewish culture, minus the Jewish supremic religion, Abrahamism. I love Christian culture, minus the Abrahamic, Bible thumping, apocalyptic, salivating irrationals. Saved versus the not saved total duped. That's just religiously, is how this Abrahamic construct took over half the world through Christianity and Islam. Now the other half, mostly through its creation of communism, what they label socialism, which are anything from it. It's just another way of totalitarian dictatorship. Instead of the religion being Abrahamism, the religion is some sort of progressivism, and progressing towards what? Nationalism, even, or maybe tolerism. How tolerant are the left of the right? They're militant in it. Let's look to the Antifa.
Absorb those. But you object mostly to what he said about more immigrants make our country poorer and dirtier.
Yeah.
I mean, no, if you hire so many of them as cleaning people, it doesn't add up.
That doesn't add up.
Another bad joke. And racist as shit. Classist as fuck. I happen to work in the labor world during the fucking day, and he like you unfunny shit. And happen to be really good friends with these people who have to work under somebody who doesn't do shit. They do all the work because they're not legally documented, because the whole system's gone to shit, because it's not about not bringing in people who want to contribute and clean your fucking house, you piece of fucking shit. But it's about bringing in destabilizing, bringing in not the best. Bunch of single young men who actually rape a bunch of the natives. Look to England as an example of that. Not law-abiding citizens who are looking to come here to study. No. They're looking to come here, rape and pillage, and then ultimately implement their religious Sharia law, or at least the Mexicans aren't coming here trying to start a. The Mexicans are actually a very. I mean, I guess we get like fentanyl. Yeah, you know who brought in a bunch of fentanyl recently? Old lady accused of bringing in fentanyl in. Oh, look at that. The San Jose Police Union executive charged with attempted illegal importation of fentanyl analog. Joanne Marian Segovia. In the office of the United States Attorney. Was bringing in a shit ton of them and labeled the contents as wedding party favors or gift makeup or chocolate and sweets. Turns out she was bringing in things valued at thousands of dollars worth of drugs. So, yes, in an ideal world, open borders, and we bring in everybody. Well, people such as George Soros, with a very close relation to Shaquille O'Neal, who's not allowed back into his own home country because of his known track record of using his money to influence the very implosion of countries from within through subterfuge, nefarious acts, lobbying. Who's the biggest lobbies that we have? The military-industrial complex, Above that, the pharmaceutical industrial complex, and these Christian allegiance to Sheliel and Sheliel American PACs.
That doesn't add up at all, right? So, I would vehemently push back against that.
Yeah, of course,
on him, is that because I think immigrants actually make our country stronger.
Well,
when they're brought over here properly, where they're received in properly, not used as political pawns, and the right DeSantis sending a bunch of immigrants through a plane or chartered bus up to Cape Cod is inhumane. Using these poor people's lives and suffering as a ploy, as some type of media evocation. You come up, you know what I'm talking about.
Is he saying, if this is a few years ago, is that part of the reason he's gone, is not saying enough stuff like that and saying too much stuff like the other?
I mean, he certainly has, in the last few years, he's certainly done a lot more segments that are anti-war, pro-Julian Assange. This is just a sample of some of the Julian Assange segments he did, and that right there is more than most other cable news shows combined. Everyone else just ignores Julian Assange or cheers on his imprisonment. Tucker Carlson not only covered it, but actually lobbied hard the Trump administration to give him a pardon, which ultimately didn't
he would
happen.
bring me on to talk about it all the time, even when he didn't agree with me on that. He let me come on his show and advocate for Julian Assange, and that was nobody else would do that.
Here's Michael Tracy. Fox News has eliminated the only reason why anyone under 40 pays any attention to Fox News.
That is true.
And and this idea that he was a Trump sycophant.
That is so true. I think that might seem just like a couple of words by Michael Tracy. Bless you. I don't know anything about him. Fox News has eliminated the only reason why anyone under 40 pays any attention to Fox News. It was because of Tucker Carlson. I'll go as far to say anybody between any of them. Fox News is going to fucking crumble. Good. I hope CNN, I don't know why CNN hasn't crumbled. I bet you their ratings, poor ratings. The ratings are horrible. Their ratings are horrible. I do not do impressions. And you know what? I'm not mad about not being able to do impressions. I'd rather be my god dang self.
He wasn't.
It's just not true. For example, Fox's Tucker Carlson breaks with colleagues and criticizes Trump's strike on Iranian generals. When Trump sided again with his neocon cabinet, people like Tucker Carlson was pretty much the only Republican voice, prominent one, to criticize that. Here's Anya Parampil. She points this out. I wrote in March, if the Dominion lawsuit succeeds in bankrupting Trump, Fox, or even casting Tucker Carlson as a network scapegoat, it will have succeeded in punishing the media's preeminent opponent of the escalating Ukraine proxy war.
Yeah.
Whoa. Red flag. Red flag.
Yep. It is interesting that right after this...
It is interesting that the Tucker Carlson, oh my God, I'm putting this together live on air, my God. Tucker Carlson, red bracelet. Red bracelet, Tucker Carlson. Fuck.
Like, I've spent my whole life in the media. My dad was in the media. Like, that is a big part of the...
Anyways, he has a red bracelet on. Just look it up. I hate to... Okay. We'll look it up together. Together. Imagine me and you and me. Tucker Carlson and his bracelet. Red as you can see. Now what might that mean? So happy together. It is a sign. Usually it comes in this. There's a red lucky bracelet. It keeps away the evil eye of Ra. The Hebrew name for evil is Ra. The god of Egypt, the name is Ra, the sun, the light. They legit hate the light, so they worship the dark, the black, which is why we wear black. Red bracelet in Kabbalah. Red string Kabbalah bracelet celebrities. I want to see what this. I'll tell you what it means. You tie a scarlet or red rope or scarf around one of the goats for the scapegoat Passover ritual. You let it go so that God doesn't kill that one. Instead, it kills the other one which represents the Gentile, the non-Abrahamic Jacob Israelite one. So it kills that one. So the red bracelet is known as Kut Hashani. Kaf, whenever a word starts with K in Kabbalahism, it's powerful because it's either the Kelipot, the Kliptoph, which is the shards of hell, pretty much. But it's about redeeming those shards, which is called Tikkun Olam. Anyways, it's a type of talisman. Yeah, totally superstitious. I know, I'm an astrologer, and this is just fucking superstitious. It's to ward off the misfortune which is brought about by the evil eye. The evil eye is all those who are non-Hebraic, namely from this northwestern Semitic tribe, whichever that means. The tradition is popularly thought to be associated with Kabbalah and religious forms of the name that we cannot say. The red string itself is usually made from scarlet, like blood, knotted 7 times because we are entering the 7th age. In the 7th heaven, we have the planet Saturn is the ruler. So those who wear the black of Saturn and worship the god of the dark light will take over in this 7th age, known as the age of Aquarian. And I don't want that to fucking happen. Do you? Also goes through the 7 chakras. The 7 heavenly visible luminaries from the moon out to Saturn. The moon-Saturn matrix. A scarlet thread tied about the wrist is mentioned in Genesis 38. Tamar was the daughter-in-law of Judah twice, as well as the mother of 2 of his children, the twins Perez and Zerah, which are probably the twins of Gemini. All astral myth, just taking over. All of Sumerian. So this is just them taking over these stories. And lots of it is ancestral. The story of Lot and his 2 daughters who got him drunk and had sex with him, impregnated themselves, and from them came the line of David, and eventually the fictional character, even furthermore, the fictional character Jesus, just as David is a fictional character. You mean there wasn't some little guy who slung a giant with a A donkey bone and a slingshot? No, but these are fucking fables. Much of it astral myth taken from people before them, namely the Sumerians, actually. Madonna, oh, and Leo, and Michael Jackson, who actually came out to call out against these people and got fucking offed. Often linked to Philip Berg's Kabbalah Center. Whatever happened to Philip Berg? The Kabbalah Center controversy. Would you believe some controversy? In 2010, the IRS launched an investigation looking into whether funds were directed to the personal enrichment of the Berg family. Nah, dog. Astrology and the star connection. Yeah, they know the science of Judaic astrology. These bastards. The power of Aleph Beth. They know Kabbalistic astrology. That's what I'm trying to teach y'all, so that you can see through the fucking hoodwinking of these goddamn fucking dark Kabbalist wizards. I was born in Queens. I might even have Jewish stuff in my past. Anyways, this fucking place, the Kabbalah Center, is so sleazy and it's so shitty. The effect of this, according to its views, all widely held spiritual or religious belief systems are merely specific branches of universal wisdom. I know. That's what I'm telling people. But the effect of this is a resemblance of religions such as Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and Buddhism, as well as New Age teachings to Kabbalah. In accordance with this belief, the Kabbalah Center does not present itself as any alternative to any religion in particular, but rather as a supplement to it. No, because when you go to the Kabbalah Center, they eventually bring you into Chabad Lubavitch. Some biblical passages, such as the passage of the Red Sea, linked to the Zohar. Does that sound Buddhist to you? One should primarily be concerned with their relationship with the essence of God rather than God itself. Yeah, because ultimately they believe that God, the creator of this world, is evil. So they want to overthrow it and then insert themselves as the ruler. The Kalipo, that's us. Shout out to my Kalipo clan. Astrology, yeah, they use astrology. Even though Maimonides actually criticized it, but that's a hidden secret. This is real. In a book written by Yehuda Berg, a former teacher at the center. Oh yeah, looking. He recommended that men not masturbate, as semen generated without loving shared intention does not serve his purpose. He also wrote that a man should not orgasm before the woman, as it injects selfishness into the act of lovemaking. And other thoughts on sex include that a man should not orgasm with a woman positioned above him, as she is then drawing energies into herself from below instead of above. That has to do with Lilith. The most light is derived from sex that occurs just after midnight on a Saturday morning. That has to do with the Shabbat and the Sabbath bride. And there's lots of truth into all this shit. Madonna studies Kabbalah and no longer gives concerts on Friday night, which is the onset of Shabbat. A painting of Madonna practicing Kabbalah called God in Mystical Oneness. Yeah, she's always been a whore. Sorry. But it does kind of. Sex is sacred, but that's not what they're doing with it. They're doing sex. So let me use sex and jerking off to well, at least they teach not to be a jerk off, but then like they'll teach like use it to manifest by jerking off onto a towel that has this sigil on it. And now look up controversy and criticism. The Kabbalah Center made claims that spring water sold by the group had among its effects a curative effect on cancer. Had to pay $4,250, $500 in damages. Yehuda Berg would cause emotional distress to the student. Look up the student and what he had to say about Yehuda Berg. Oh, but it finishes with, but philanthropy, though. They've done so much for... No, they are fucking scumbag shits. Accepted $600K from... and they use numerology all the time. $600K from an 87-year-old woman who was fucking out of her mind. Dementia. I should do a real in-depth and I should go infiltrate the Kabbalah Center. I heard that what they do is they do a sit-down interview with you and they have you meet with a lower level person, and then they'll have a connection with you, and then they'll get you prepared to meet somebody higher up who's like a Kabbalist master who just knows astrology somewhat. And then they'll go through the chart with you. And then because they've already got your background story, they can put that together with your chart and then give you a really convincing and probably accurate reading. But they're doing it to hoodwink you and to bring you into their fucking Kelly pot. A big melting fucking Kelly pot, so that you ultimately just annihilate yourself unless you're part of them ethnically. It's a blood thing. All right, I'm getting fucking tired. And have I got one view? Oh, the stream is in excellent health right now. 2 viewers tonight. Fuck! 2 viewers. I've been doing this shit fucking too long to have 2 goddamn viewers. So I smoke too many goddamn cigarettes, drink too many goddamn beers. We're too far gone to fucking stream without a paddle. Let alone 2 fucking paddles, because we're stuck in this 2-party dichotomic system between the uber Zionist, mind-fucked Abrahamic peoples and the left, communist, socialist, Bolshevik, materialistic, nihilistic, militant, progressives. Progressing towards what? Ultimately, the ship's going the same fucking direction. Down the fucking drain. That, my friends, will conclude tonight's stream of the Wake movement. Sometimes I get a little bit emotional, and it's hard not to. I'm not a robot. Our emotions can be our fall often, but they can also be our strength. Without tapping into ours and others' emotional abilities and capabilities, then we will never be able to rouse people to action. It's often not done by just the intellect, but together with the emotive part of our makeup. Signing off. Thanks to all those who commented in our chat section. There's nobody. I do love you. Good night.